I said your name is Toby.
Kunta Kinte. Damn! Steve! What'd I say about hitting so hard, man?
I'm sorry, are you all right?
You sorry? I'ma show you sorry, man. I'ma show you sorry, bro. I told y'all he's scared of me. Hold on, let me get up there.
The Roots.
Get your life, get your life, get your life, baby. I got mine, why you can serve my mind, baby. Feeling me, that's why they killing me, lately. Get your life. Get your life, get your life, get your life, baby. I got mine, why you can serve my mind, baby. Feeling me, that's why they killing me, lately. Get your life. Run up when you see me, no disguises. Keep that thing with me, cause I don't do surprises. J. Chanel, show and tell, all facts, no lies, streak. Get your life, cause I'm the type that come to it that 9 quick. Eyes on me, what you care for? Watching me, baby, care for. If you ain't a fan, where the cameras? Hide in the back with the bellboys. My circle so restricted. Hands raised like it's your religion. When I sleep, pay close attention. Fake friends out here pretending. Get your life, get your life, get your life, baby. I got mine, why you can serve my mind, baby. Feeling me, that's why they killing me, lately. Get your life. Get your life, get your life, get your life, baby. I got mine, why you can serve my mind, baby. Feeling me, that's why they killing me, lately. Get your life.
Focus there.
Watch them cause they after me like a pot of gold. I'm not for play, ask Keisha if you don't know. I'm a little bit cray-cray, approach me, you better be right. If you don't come correctly, you can catch these hands tonight. Eyes on me, what you care for? Watching me, baby, care for. If you ain't a fan, where the cameras? Hide in the back with the bellboys. My circle's so restricted. Hands raised like it's your religion. When I sleep, pay close attention. Fake friends out here pretending. Get your life, get your life, get your life, baby. I got mine, why you can serve my mind, baby. Feeling me, that's why they killing me, lately. Get your life.
Get your life.
Get your life, get your life, get your life, baby. I got mine, why you can serve my mind, baby. Feeling me, that's why they killing me, lately. Get your life.
Get your life, boo.
Good morning, good evening, good night, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's your nighttime, right time DJ Music, and welcome to another episode of the Chop Shop. It is 2:04 somewhere on the East Coast. Hey there, Just Ask Shaw. How you doing? Welcome. Y'all give me a 1 or a 2 if you can hear me down in the listening lounge. What's up there, Big J, Triple X? How you doing? How you doing? Got a 1 or 2. Thank you so very much there, Shaw. How you doing? It's Chi-Town. But y'all see what we're going to talk about today. Look at the screen there. Ricky Ricardo, Brandon Tatum, Race-Baitem-Tatem. Then I got all kind of names for this cat. I don't know why we thought this was gonna blow away. I don't know why the more egregious things that Race-Baitem-Tatem said that we was not going to talk about. But this is what he does. This is who he is. The little bit of information that I found about the former Officer Tatum's background is he did grow up in black neighborhood out there in Dunbar High School where he started his career at. But one thing, when you're around a bunch of black people, we're all about the same. We all have the same athletic prowess. We all think about like, and for some reason or the other, Brandon Tatum was not a standout at his high school. But when he went to Arizona and went to a predominantly white school, he found acceptance there. He found that he could be the big man on the campus. He even got him a sample of some white cooch. And he thought about it to himself one day, you know what? Them folks over there was treating me bad, but these folks opened up their arms to me. Cognitive dissonance stepped into Brandon Tatum's life. He decided one day he don't want to be black no more. Took out all the mirrors out of his house so he could just completely erase the fact that other than when he looks down and when the other folks see him, that he's not black. There's no way that you can tell me that this man honestly believes some of the stuff that he says, like slavery was, black people was treated better during slavery. All these different things that he said that, listen, we expect some of the dominant society, shout out Tariq Nasheed, to say things like that. That's an expectation. But when you hear a black man doing it, then you have to ask yourself, but the question is, why is he? I think Brandon Tatum can't come back. He can't come back from the other side. As we say down here in South Carolina, he can't come back across the track. He's too entrenched in white world now. They paid him too much money. He said too much egregious shit about black people in general for him to be ever accepted back in our community. Go ask Stacey Dash how that's working out for her. Stacey Dash over there now, I follow her, but she over there now thirst trapping. Still look good for 50-some, almost 60-some years old. She still look good. But again, like Brandon Tatum, you better go and sit down and talk with Stacey Dash and ask, how's it feel to be excommunicated? Y'all thought y'all was going to stay in white world forever? Brandon, as soon as they're done with you, they're going to do you just like they done all the other Yassa bosses. Toss them to the side. Kick them to the curb. Yap, 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 and Yassa boss. And is we sick, boss? No. Let me take this off the screen, and let me go ahead and start out with this here. It's a little cloudy, and we're expecting thunderstorms in this area. So if I start borging or if I start, somebody let me know. And if I have to, if it gets too bad, I'll just finish what I have to say in a pre-record. All right? So let me get this out of here. Again, there's a plethora of information of people that's talking about Brandon Tatum. A lot of it. I had I had this to choose from, that to choose from. So I started choosing folks that was kind of thinking in the same way I was thinking. So I'll start it off with this young lady right here.
Race-Baitem-Tatem went on Nancy Grace's show because Nancy Grace is on the case and she has been talking about Nolan Wells. Race-Baitem-Tatem recently had an interview with Warren Hudson, one of the boys who was pictured with Nolan before Nolan went missing and was subsequently found dead. Now he goes on Nancy Grace's show and almost immediately gets caught in a lie.
As we played at the get-go, several of Nolan's friends. Did they show you photos, videos, snaps of that day on Horn Island?
Well, Nancy, thank you so much for having me on. I spoke to 4 of the boys that are originally accused of being involved in Nolan Wells' death.
Hold on, sorry, I gotta stop this right here because he said just now that there were 4 boys that were originally accused of being involved in Nolan Wells' death, right? There were only 3.
And that's what I saw. So is Brandon Tatum giving us information that the police don't have? Does Brandon Tatum know something? Does Ricky Raccoon know something that we don't know? And who is Ricky Raccoon to act like he is the police? Notice when he said he's a officer, he never put detective on that. He said he was an officer. He was a beat cop. And from what I understand, not very long, because most people that go into that profession, if they don't get in trouble, they usually end up retiring from the police force. Do y'all see Brandon Tatum as somebody who would retire? Yeah, ABT, how you doing? How you doing? I tried to review that a couple days ago, but they shut me down. What's the name? Jubilee? They shut people down from that. But I guess I see now that they're starting to allow people to use the footage. But a couple days ago, when I wanted to cover that, they shut us down. Like, no, and I think Brandon Tatum had something to do with that. I think he knew people was gonna fry him. Yeah, there are a bunch of other clips. I'm going to cover it again, but I'm just going to ease my way into this Yassa Boss right here. And someone said that Nancy Grace is on the case. Listen, folks, when Nancy Grace is on your ass, just like Columbo, you guilty. And this, maybe Nancy Grace was a fan of Columbo or some of those detective shows that she watched back in the days. Kojak and all those other stuff. She literally, from what I saw about Nancy Grace, she literally let Brandon Tatum hang himself. On every podcast that Brandon Tatum went on to talk about this incident, he hung himself. I think he put himself up for charges later on. Perjury, obstruction of justice, withholding evidence. I think Brandon Tatum is going to be in a whole lot more trouble than it was worth. But again, they threw him under the bus. You know why? Because Brandon Tatum can say what they can't. They can say it in the closed door meetings. They can get a chuckle from someone like Brandon Tatum. But they know if they go on a platform, if they go on nationwide TV and say the things that Brandon Tatum said, somebody will get their head off with their head. Let him eat cake. Take his YouTube channel. And I got to ask one question before we go further. It seems to me, people say that this is not based around race. How do you figure it's not? You got one black kid of color versus 3 or 4, according to Brandon Tatum. If these 3 boys or these 4 boys were true friends of Nolan Wells, why wouldn't they want to tell everybody, whether it was an accident or whether it was intentional? Why wouldn't they want to know everybody, the world, to know that they had nothing to do with it? And if it was an accident, why didn't they just come out and say it? What's his name? D.L. Hughley said it best. We have every right as black people in this country to be suspect to anything that comes out of the state of Mississippi when it comes to race relations. Other than Alabama, Mississippi is rated as one of the most racist states in the Union. A whole movie was made about that. The Mississippi burning at the beginning of the civil rights movement. 3 civil rights kids went from New York down to help people register to vote. And what did they end up doing? Getting buried in an earthen dam somewhere. After the police arrested them, let them out at midnight so they could be captured and killed. From the mayor on down to the low-ranking beat cop, it tells you all you need to know about the structural system of Mississippi. Just here recently, in Mississippi again, another young lady unalived. But we can't talk about it because the news going to tell you that she hung herself. A couple months ago, less than 2 months ago, a policeman shoots into a car because some black women was shoplifting. Instead of giving him 30 days in jail and fine, he gave him the ultimate, the death penalty. A 1-year-old child that had nothing to do with any of that. That's the one who suffered. Police still walking around. The policeman that shot Sandra Massey in the face, this guy, Brandon Tatum, gave every 50-11 excuses of why that officer was right. Talking about it was a shooting that was a good shooting. If it was a good shooting, why you end up with 20 years in jail? If it's a good shooting, why did she end up with 10 years in jail, 7 years in jail? If it's a good shooting, why she ended up in jail? Tatum? Well, let's go.
Who was the other guy he talked to? Because when the original thing happened and the photo came out of Nolan and his friends, there were 4 people in the photo, but one of them was Nolan. So there was only 3 people who were originally, per his words, involved in people's speculation about their involvement of his death. There were only 3. I'm wondering who the 4th one was, because he said he talked to 4 people. Who was the 4th guy that was supposedly originally involved? Now, we have a couple of Nolan's friends after the fact coming in and putting their names out there as being involved. Like that one guy who claimed that he was Nolan's friend, and the parents come out saying that they have no idea who he is.
No idea who he is.
And that they had never met him before. Was that the...
Again, folks, if there was nothing to hide, why is all this controversy? We already know, just from what was released on the internet, that a lot of people have been interviewed already about this case. And just because the eye of America is on it, why not tell everybody what's going on so far? Why do we have to get our answers or our daily updates from this clowning ass Yasser Boss and Brandon Tatum? Who is he to be able to go into a situation to where he doesn't live in another state and interview some possible suspects? Who is Brandon Tatum?
Fourth guy? I mean, he was the one that said that they didn't want to see Nolan die. And my question was, did you see it though? And that boat SOS may or may not have answered my question. But I do think it is interesting that originally there was only 3 boys that was accused or at least suspected of being a part of Nolan's going missing and then Nolan's demise. But he's saying that there are 4. I would love to know who the 4th one is. But carry on. That ain't even the lie yet. I'm just,
Right.
It was telling.
Right.
And they did show me a lot of evidence. I want people to be very clear with this. I spent my career putting people in jail. My career is based on getting justice for people who have been done wrong. I've never been a defense attorney. So me going out and doing this was to find out what happened to Nolan Wells. And in talking to these young men, the burden of proof is they're going to have to prove to me. I'm not going to listen to what they say out of their mouth. They're going to have to show.
Okay, put a mark on that, folks. Remember, he said the burden of proof is on those boys to show me that he's telling the truth. Listen to that very carefully, because he's a matter of fact about that. Now, let's go and continue.
Me. And in many cases, they showed me videos of Nolan on the island.
He's already fucked himself. He's already fucking up. He's already fucking up. They showed you evidence. Why didn't they show it to the police? Why they show you? But that's not the kicker. You just got to listen to what he's saying. What's up there, Zero to Infinite? How you doing, good brother? What's up, Patrick? How you doing? Welcome in, folks. I would like you folks to like, share, and subscribe if you don't mind. We're close to what? I think we're close to 1,600 subscribers now. So again, big shout out to all my subscribers. It's a slow journey, but as they say in the race, slow and steady wins the race. There, folks, slow and steady wins the race. But y'all listen to this guy here now.
They showed me videos of the boat when they were getting towed out, which is which is consistent with, you know, kind of similar to what the phone call was. I mean, they showed me pictures of them with Nolan. They showed me phone records of them calling Nolan's mom and all of the above. So they seemed very consistent. They seemed very genuine. And they also.
My next question is, hey, Tanya, how you doing? Why would they be calling Nolan's mom? If they knew that Nolan wasn't on the boat, if they knew they left their friend on an island, because there's no provisions on that island at all, folks. There's absolutely no provisions on that island. Why? Because it's protected. It's a wetland area. You can't improve. You can't build anything on that particular island. So you telling me Nolan Wells' friends left him on an island without his phone, knowing that there was no provisions? Well, I'm going to say this. I guess I'm going to say your name right. Jesse Landry. If this is God's work, then I guess we're all in trouble. I guess we're all in trouble, Jesse. But let's listen to your boy doing God's work. Okay, Jesse?
Proved to me some of the things that they had told me in the interview that I had with them that I have uploaded on my YouTube channel.
Officer Tatum, are you telling me that they had reception on Horn Island? Because many people are saying, well, the reason...
One second. I got something for you before I boot you on up out of here. Maybe you'll stay around long enough to receive what I'm about to tell you.
Sit your $5 ass down before I make change.
You know what I'm doing. Getting your ass on up out of here, Jesse. But anyway, now back to what we were doing.
That there's nothing on Nolan's phone of that day. Like there's no pictures, there's no snaps, there's no text, there's no anything. Not because it was deleted, but because he didn't have reception.
Okay, does that make sense to y'all? Have you ever taken a picture with your phone and not used the internet? We all do. You don't need the internet to take snaps or videos on your cell phone. Now, you may need the internet to upload them, but you don't need it to take the picture. So you telling me these 18-year-old boys and girls at a party, at having a good time, and Nolan did not take one picture? Not one. He didn't take not one snap that entire day. Teenagers that tell you when they're going to the toilet, look at my location, I'm in the toilet. They wouldn't want to, dare I say, take that down as a memory of what happened in 19 or 2000, whatever. I know when I was hanging out with the crew and I had a camera around me, let me take me some snaps for old TS, old time's sake, a little bit later on.
You're telling me the other boys did have snaps, photos, videos, and reception?
Yeah, no, Nancy, let me clarify this for you. It wasn't that they uploaded this online. They showed me videos and things that they took from the boat during the outing on 4th of July. I was personally out at Horn Island. I rode out there on a boat, and I didn't have great reception there. And
I didn't have great reception, but that's not what caught my eye. I had to go back and re-listen to this again because I said something about that didn't make sense. What didn't make sense that he said he was personally on the island, but you're going to hear Officer Yassabos in a little while say he left his phone on the boat. You're going to hear him say that. Listen.
I left my phone in the boat when I got
There
into
it
the
is.
water and we were actually going out to do interviews.
He left his phone on the boat. Mark that down.
Objection. You've been in court long enough to know you're going to get objections. You said you didn't have great reception, but you did have reception, did you not?
No, there was reception there. It just wasn't great, and it wasn't great enough for people, in my opinion, to upload. You can make a phone call potentially, but
see, this is what I'm talking about. This man is not very bright. He's not very astute. He doesn't have critical thinking skills. He is a parrot. He repeats what someone just told him, and he believes that, according to him, that he knows the functions of every fucking cell phone out there. Nobody, there's no possible way that anybody could have uploaded any data from that island. That's what he's saying, in his opinion. So now he's a forensic scientist as well as an IT instructor. He knows all about the internet. He knows all of these things, in his opinion.
you wasn't going to upload data to a social media account. Now, could people take the steps to do it if they're dedicated enough? Yes, but it doesn't appear that would have been a frequent.
Are y'all dedicated to take pictures on your or quick snaps on your phone? It's not a matter of dedication. It's like second nature for most of us now. I'm going to take this video. I'm going to upload it. I'm going to turn it into a short. I'm going to do something to it. But remember, he said he left his phone on the boat.
Thing, given the fact that you probably had one or two bars out there. And I heard evidence of that. Not only did I see evidence of it when I went out there myself personally with my cell phone, when I listened to the
when he went out there personally with his cell phone. So when did you leave your cell phone? Now, the reason why I want y'all to understand that why I picked on that is, when do you leave your cell phone in a boat or in the car? If you was about to get off the boat, did everybody on the boat come into a general consensus? Okay, everybody leave your phones on the boat because you don't have very good service anyway. So there would be no reason for you to have it. How about the idea of let me just put my cell phone in my pocket? That makes more sense to me than anything. I'm not going to leave it on the boat. Let me put my cell phone in my pocket, which he did, because he just told us that once he got onto the island, he found out that he only had one or two bars. So no, you did not leave your cell phone on the boat. You contradicted yourself by saying that no one had any cell phone service out there, that it was almost next to impossible to upload a video or send a picture to the internet. But you just said that you had service. Which one is it? So that eviscerate the lie that you're saying that nobody had cell phone service, that Nolan Wells didn't have any pictures on his phone, and the other folks that nothing happened to was able to show you the events of the day. But when we get Nolan's phone, there's nothing on it. Nothing, no activities from that day. Let me break out my Umar Johnson impersonation. Don't you find that suspicious? Don't you find that suspicious? Somebody came in here and said, there was hundreds of people out there. Yeah, I bet you every one of those people out there had some memories of them being there that day. Don't you find that suspicious?
Tito call, you could tell that the call dropped out several times. It seemed like they were having trouble at times hearing each other. So it is consistent. And anybody that...
No, it didn't. The only video that I've done on this, because I've been just waiting for information to come back and forth, in and out, so I can make have a more well-rounded thing, talk about what I'm talking about. So I watched that video. I listened to that video. The only problem the video, the person that was on the other end of the distress call, was the fact that she could not understand them because they seemed intoxicated. She couldn't understand them. But there was no cut in the cell phone service. Y'all can go back to the video that I did a couple days ago.
Travel out there that have gone to the 4th of July celebration, they know that the reception is not very great. So the videos that they showed me in call logs were things that were not associated to social media, that they never posted on social media. It was, pictures and videos that they took on their phone.
Okay. Let me refine my question. I take it from your last answer that the answer is yes, you had reception on Horn Island.
Yes, I did have reception on Horn Island.
So he did have reception on the island. So the thing is, they say the reason why Nolan didn't have any videos, any photos, no call records, no snaps, nothing like that, is because he didn't have any reception on the island.
Again, folks, having no reception on the island does not mean that you can't record videos and that you can't not take snaps. That is ridiculous for anybody to say that. The internet does not prevent you from taking pictures. The internet does not prevent you from recording something on your cell phone.
But Race-Baitem-Tatem just admitted that there is reception on the island. It's just not great. Even if it takes a couple of minutes to upload a photo, it's still doable. And for somebody who is an avid uploader of content when they go and do things, you would think that they'd be ready for that extra time it would take to upload a photo. Now, my question is this the first time that Nolan had ever been to Horn Island? Because if it wasn't, he would have known how long it would take for the reception to do what it did, and
that's a fair point. That's a fair point. When you go somewhere, folks, with the advent of the internet, most of us need it for something or the other. Most of us wonder when we go on a trip somewhere, is there going to be adequate cell service? Isn't that right, Kyle? I might, especially if you're on a business trip, how good is the Wi-Fi? Or is there going to be a connection in the hotel to where whatever I need to do, whether it's business-wise or have a Zoom meeting or want to do a live stream, is the internet going to be enough for me to use it? Am I going to have the proper signal in order for me to deliver what I want to talk about? So yes, Nolan Wells, if he had been on that island before, and it seems to me that he has, I'm only speculating on that, so I'm going to use the word allegedly. But allegedly seems to me that's something that those folks do every year around 4th of July. Go out to Horn Island and just chill out in the boats. So it wouldn't be a far-fetched thing to say that Nolan Wells has been to that island before. It wouldn't be a far-fetched thing to say that him and his friends have been to that island before. You're absolutely right. We pay for it on flights there, ABT. If you're on a flight, especially, well, I don't know about Spirit Airlines, but just about all the airlines now, they charge you to use their Wi-Fi. So what the officer Race-Baitem-Tatem is saying does not make sense.
he would be ready for that. Also, if he had gone to Horn Island before, did he upload things to social media? You know, the fact that his mom thinks that him going to Horn Island and not uploading anything, not even videotaping or getting photos on his actual phone, is weird. That would prompt me.
I heard someone say that maybe the parents just don't. And see, this is the problem I'm having with Race-Baitem and people who always try to discredit Black parenting styles. Maybe the parents didn't know what he was doing. No. If you can tell that both those parents was active in their son's life. Why? Because he was a football player. They're used to Nolan taking pictures. They're used to Nolan time stamping things. That's why the mother found it weird that, wait a minute, every time my son goes somewhere, he has pictures, he has videos. Why not today? And then another thing is, once Nolan didn't show up at home, the mother started pinging his phone. If you are a parent that don't give a damn about where your child's at, you're not going to put a tracker on that phone. Officer of the damn law, Yasser Bowson. But let's continue.
To ask, okay, is this behavior normal for this occasion? Has he been to Horn Island before? And if he has he had that situation where he didn't record anything because there was no reception? If he had gone to Horn Island before and recorded stuff and videotaped stuff and uploaded to Snapchat and all of that, then this time him not doing all of that would be highly suspicious.
Absolutely. Highly suspicious. Now, let me read this comment right here. Okay, from ERA, eradicate. Oh, okay, I see it now. Eradicated Democrats. Well, it says the same name says a lot. Nolan was on the island after his boat left. He was seen swimming by multiple people after the friends' phones locations were long gone. Really? Can you document that? Were you there? Did you see Nolan? Or are you going by speculation? Because that's all everyone can do right now, speculate until that grand jury comes back and some folks get charged. That's all we can do is speculate. Now, I'm from a coastal town in Charleston, South Carolina, so I know about boating. When I heard things on that recording, it didn't make sense to me. Why would you jump out of the boat to pull the plug so more water could come into the boat? Why would you call the Coast Guard? And then if you were sinking, call it off for somebody else to come tow you out? No charges filed. Hey, Brownie Ellie, how you doing? Welcome in. Carolyn, welcome in. And again, like I said, I'm from a coastal town, so I know if you're in Charleston, Savannah, or Nags Head in North Carolina, that's what people do during this time of year. They go up to the lake. They go out to the islands. They go out to different places to where they're near the water, getting some tans, lay out in the sun. Elusive, you're absolutely right. Speculation, but you have to call out speculation with common sense. I'm not speculating. What I'm trying to say is that the information that we're all that Brandon Tatum is out here swearing by, that is the speculation. He acts like he's the know all and the see all and the do all. But if we sit back and listen to his conversation, we know he's just another typical grifter.
Would it not? I have questions. But Tatum admits, after trying to say that there was no reception or there wasn't good enough reception to upload anything, he admits that he had 1 or 2 bars, which, I mean, that's good enough to upload stuff. You can upload stuff with 1 or 2.
Okay, Jax, before I put you up out of here, at no point in time did you hear me say that those boys did anything. At no point in time did you hear me say anything about charging them. I got questions. Now, one thing I won't stand is disrespect. You can come in here with an opinion, but you're not going to disrespect me.
Oh, I'm sorry. Somebody trying to talk to me while I'm working? Go outside, nerd. Get out. Go. I ain't got time to be distracted by your worthless chime-ins. Go on. I tell this sumbitch to walk the fuck out right now, or we done for the day. Go on. I'm sorry. Somebody trying to talk to me while I'm working? Go.
I'm not even going to address you. I'm just going to put your ass up out of here. What's your name? You'll know. I'm not even going to address you. Get the fuck up out of my platform. But anyway, see, this is what I'm talking about. They're quick to talking about, I'm the race baiter, but they're coming over here with the racial epithets. I'm the race baiter. Yo, white boys better go sit your ass down somewhere. Leave me the fuck alone. Wrong guy. Wrong black man. I've been around y'all my entire life. I know how to handle you rednecks.
Two bars. I mean, it'll take a minute, but you can. And a lot of these outlets these days are very good at allowing you to upload with minimal reception. But of course, Race-Baitem-Tatem is trying to make it seem as if him not having any media on his phone, no videos, no photos or anything of the day, is a normal occurrence. Because
is that normal, folks? Put a 1 in the chat room. If you're going on vacation, you end up severely injured or dead. When we get to your phone, put a 1 in the chat if there should be some kind of semblance of what you was doing during that day. Or put a 2 in the chat if you think it's normal not to have anything on your phone. Absolutely, Karen. Not all white people are like them. I'm not talking about those folks. I'm not talking about average white people. So let me go ahead and make this disclaimer. I'm talking about the black folks and the white folks that don't see that there's something afoot here. Something is wrong. Someone is dead, and we don't have the reasons from July 4th till now. That should be troubling to us. If we all call ourselves patriotic Americans, that should be troubling to you that your 18-year-old kid goes on a trip somewhere and he ends up dead. That should be troubling. This should be troubling that somebody that y'all listen to someone that don't know Nolan Wells, that don't know their family. The only connection we have to Nolan Wells right now is because we know he didn't come back from that island alive. Other than that, none of us would, except for if you lived around him, you knew him, none of us would know Nolan Wells existed. And again, folks ask us to take the word of the folks down there in Mississippi. We know the history of Mississippi. Black, brown, yellow, green, orange. I don't give a damn what color you are. When it comes to relations, race relations out of Mississippi, you better ask some questions. Ask the questions why there's 234 paupers' graves over there, unidentified, of people that died in those prisons that their families didn't know. Well, truth only. I don't think Trump is going to do that. I was having a conversation with someone, and it didn't dawn on me until they pointed to me this way. Do you plan on moving out of a house to where you're decorated with gold, toilets, putting in all your personal effects? Do you plan on leaving anytime soon? The writing's on the wall. Trump is not going to go gracefully into that good night. The only thing that's going to keep Trump out of politics is death.
the reception was not great. But that wasn't the only lie he got caught in on Nancy Grace's show. The second lie was when she asked him about a polygraph test that the boys supposedly took.
Have the friends taken polygraphs?
Well, from my understanding, all but I believe one took a polygraph. And from what was told to me, that they all passed. And all of the ones that took a polygraph took one without a lawyer. And so, and they cooperated with law enforcement. So from my understanding, everybody took a
Why do you say
polygraph
that's
test
from
but
what
one.
you understand? Did they tell you they took a poly and passed?
Yes, ma'am. They told me that they did it. I wasn't there. So
Okay. I told y'all to pin a comment that I made earlier. When this video first started with Nancy Grace, he said, I'm from Missouri. They got to show me. I'm not just going to take their word for it. But now when it comes to something crucial, which actually is inadmissible in court, admissible in court, inadmissible in court, however you want to look at it anyway, he said, well, I didn't actually see them take the polygraph test. They just told me they did. Which is it? Out of his own mouth. Not my words. In this same clip that we're reviewing now, at the beginning, that's exactly what he says. If you don't believe me, when I'm done, go back up. Go back up and listen to it for yourself. They can't, they're just not going to. I'm an officer, and my whole thing was locking people up, putting people in jail. So they just can't walk up to me and tell me anything, paraphrasing, of course. That's basically what he said. You're not going to just tell me anything. I need to see proof. But they just told you that they did a polygraph or some semblance of a polygraph test, and you took them for their word. Well, what's up there, Doc? How you living up? What's up? What's up there? Hey, Kim West, how you doing? Welcome in. Welcome in. Karina, welcome in. If I'm messing up your name, I'm reading. I don't have on my reading glasses right now. I'm trying to ditch them. Hey, Carolyn, how you doing? Listen, folks, the things that I say here, not all of us are going to agree on. But one thing I can say that we all have common sense. We all can agree on common sense. Now, you tell me, everything that you've heard from Brandon Tatum so far, does it make common sense? Common sense that an 18-year-old kid having that probably with the time of his life, don't take no pictures. Common sense to tell us that even if you got 2-3 bars, you still can send something, upload something to the internet. It might take a little longer. Common sense gonna tell us that if I'm getting off a boat, I'm not gonna put my cell phone in the boat glove box. I'm gonna put it in my pocket. What up there, Aunt T? How you doing? Yeah, man. I tell you what, this Nolan Wells has everybody's eyes to it. You know, every stream that I've seen about someone covering the Nolan Wells incident, whether you're for or against it, people want to know. Again, I do appreciate everybody that's shouting out. Shout out the $2 super chat there from the official YT Purge. Y'all make sure y'all check out my man's channel. For those of you who do have YouTube channels, your content creators, drop your link in there. I'm not on YouTube, so if you don't have a channel, a wrench, as they say, I'll go back a little bit later on and make sure I wrench you up there. All right, but I'm not on YouTube right now. Okay. So let's continue with this. But this young lady is making plenty of sense. Common sense. Common sense.
That's what I'm saying from my understanding. They told me that all the boys except one, which is Warren, I believe, took a polygraph test. All of them did not have lawyers and did it and cooperated with police. Warren also cooperated with police. I just believe he didn't take a lot to take the test, but Warren is the young man that I interviewed. So according to what they told me, they all took.
See there again, HL. Again, maybe you didn't hear me. Maybe you didn't hear me say that. I've been around water my entire life. I'm from Charleston, South Carolina. Yes, I've gotten out of boats that the water is not even knee deep. The water is not ankle deep. When you put your boat, when you pull up to the landing, you can step straight off the boat onto the pier. HL. You never have to step foot in the water. This ain't Gilligan's Island, sir. HL. So yes, I would have put my cell phone in my pocket.
A lot of tech tests and passed. And it's an equivalent of a lot of tech test. It's not a traditional lot of tech test, but it's the same theology of trying to get to if a person is lying. I don't know the name of it. It's an equivalent of a lie detector test. It's a different methodology. I don't believe it.
Okay, HL, seems to me you want to split hairs. Okay, there wasn't at a pier. There's no pier there. You're absolutely right. There is no pier on Horn Island, but there is what, as you say, the shore. There is the way you can pull the boat up to the shore and not step in the water, period. Now, if you use Google Maps and you Google Horn Island, you will see exactly what I'm describing. Matter of fact, if you go back to the day, you can literally see boats pulled up to the sandy shore there. No, not at that. I'm not talking about the folks on the boat. I'm talking about Officer Tatum. Again, please stop coming here, hearing what you want to hear and distracting me. So let me try this for you one more time. I'm not talking about the boys on the boat. Officer Tatum said he visited Horn Island. He said he left his phone in the boat. Later on, while he's talking, he says he saw that he did not have cell phone service. My point was to say, you said you left your phone on the boat, but you didn't, because you told us later on that you had cell phone service. You only had 2 bars. I'm not talking about in the 32 feet of water that they were in when they was having these distress signals. And how dumb could you be to know that you're going to get in waist-high water and put your cell phone in your pocket? Common sense, man. HL, common sense, man. Ain't that right, Kim? Common sense. What's up there, Frederick? How you doing? Let's see there. Brenda, how you doing? Welcome in. Welcome in. Folks, all I do, I ask you, I won't ask you, somebody came in and called me a grifter. I won't ask you for your money. If you would like to donate to the station, you could go over to Autism Speaks. You can type in, hey, DJ Music or Stevie Music, and say, I'd like to make a donation in his honor to help out the folks that Autism Speaks. Or you can drop a couple jewels like Stage One just did. But I would really prefer, and thank you very much, if you like, if you share, and subscribe to get the word out there. But I appreciate the jewels there. What are the jewels anyway? That come from the vertical stream? No, HL. I don't want to believe. Actually, all I want to know is what happened, just like everybody else. All we want to know is what happened to Nolan Wells. If the kids did something nefarious, as y'all want to call them, then they need to be held accountable for it. If they didn't do anything, why would they immediately take away their social media activities? Why would all these, if they didn't do anything wrong, HL, common sense again. Where's my man a logical assessment when I need him? Logically thinking, assessing the situation. You honestly believe that those boys did have nothing to do with this, or they had no idea of what went on? Yes, the attorney could have told them, be quiet, don't talk, don't say anything, disable all your social media, because folks going to be coming after you. That is a possibility, Auntie. You're absolutely right.
It was a polygraph test. I believe they took other stressors in order to analyze if
So
the
then
people were
the
telling the
answer
truth or
to
not.
did they take a polygraph would be no.
Well, yeah, I think it could be semantics, because they took a test to analyze whether or not they were being truthful in their statements, and that certified test, they passed it. It just wasn't considered a traditional polygraph. I think it's a more advanced way of doing it.
My God. I'm glad Nancy Grace is on the case, because if y'all saw Brandon Tatum on 1 versus 20, the Jubilee, all he did was overtalk people. It's hard to overtalk Nancy Grace. She's seasoned at this. Hey, Tanner, how you doing? You're seasoned at this. Yes. Don't talk is good advice. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And T, I agree with that. Don't talk to anybody about nothing. That is good. Keep your mouth shut. If you're innocent, it'll come out. If you're guilty, that's going to come out as well.
Brandon Tatum.
I love how his story changed in real time. Like it went from, did they take a polygraph? Yeah, they totally took a polygraph. And it was not really a polygraph, but it was like a polygraph. So it's semantics. Not a standard official polygraph that is not even admissible in court. It was something else that uses other methodology.
Yeah, something else. And again, you're right, Kim. No one is accusing his friends of doing anything. No one is accusing them. But what we're saying is, again, I'm going to use the word common sense. It's suspicious. Something is not right here. Something in the milk ain't right. I turned it up and wait a minute, there's some curds in it. Got to spit that out. That ain't right. We've all drunken sour milk before. Don't taste right. We got questions, right, Auntie? We got questions, damn it. Fair questions. No one's making an assumption that anyone is, no one is assigned guilt, blame, or anything. We got questions, though. HL. Okay, HL. One other thing. Since you brought it up, and I knew you would, the friends left and he didn't leave with them. I don't know how old you are. I don't know what your hangouts are, but I know back in the days when I used to hang out with my partners, if we all went together, we all left together. Or if you met up with a young lady, you would go find your friends that was up in the club and say, hey, man, you got to ride back to the barracks? Because if not, I'm going to have to drop you off to the barracks now because I got to go somewhere else later on. I'm going to make sure my friends get back to where I brought them from. No, that's not back in the day. That's not back in the day, sir. That's right now. That's current. That's not back in the day. Yeah, he good without a cell phone. He good without no provisions, because if you know anything about that island, there is no provisions out there. So basically, he was good with what? There's no provisions on the island. So just going to leave him out there for what? There's no provisions for what? You're just going to drop somebody off at an uninhabited island and say, hey, catch a ride back. But he didn't know the thousands of people, HL. But I'm going to move on from your argument, sir. You're welcome to continue. But I
don't know what it's called. He working hard. What I find interesting is that boys that would lawyer up before the body was even found decided to take not a polygraph, but...
Say that again, Frederick Hayes. Man, get your butt. I'm going to say it the way I want. Man, if you don't get your ass on this boat, we ain't coming back out here to get your ass. Get on the boat now, or you be out here until somebody else gets you. No, sir. You came with us, you leaving with us. That's how friends do friends. A not so sure friend will tell you, shit, all right, man, get back the best way you know how. It is uninhabited. There's nothing there. There's no provisions on that island at all. The only time people are on that island, they are there for that type function. There's no cabins there. There's no store there. It is just a place for folks to hang out with boats. You can't walk there. My God. Now, I see. I guess this is part of having the. I guess this is part of having an opinion and being on the internet. You're gonna have to feel some crazy shit. You got to have thick skin. What are they getting sued for, Scott?
something else
Richard Dreyfuss?
like a polygraph without their lawyers. And the person that supposedly didn't take it was the person that he interviewed with that just so happens to have a stepmom as a judge and whose parents have been very active when it comes to this case.
Okay there, Josh. This has been discussed. This is old news. You guys are still talking about why he didn't get on the boat. Seriously? Josh, do yourself a favor, sir. Go look up the word uninhabited. Or matter of fact, just uninhabited means people don't live there. I didn't say people don't visit. People don't live there. Go look up the word uninhabited.
Not only their statements, but also their actions when it comes to offering rewards and crowdfunding for the cause. He didn't do the not polygraph kind of polygraph thing, but the other guys did, and they did so without lawyers, even though they lawyered up.
Sit your $5 ass down before I make change.
Race-Baitem-Tatem is perpetuating this narrative that they all took this polygraph as if that is supposed to exonerate them of something, and then it comes out that it wasn't actually a polygraph. It wasn't even the standard polygraph, which, again, does not hold up in court. Every time they try to come out to clear these boys' names from the suspicion of having something to do with Nolan Wells' demise, I have more questions than they gave answers to. But one thing is super clear. Race-Baitem-Tatem does not care about what happened to Nolan.
No, he doesn't.
He is not trying to find answers about what happened to Nolan. He does not care about the Black community. He does not care about the fate of our Black children. This also goes for Nolan Wells. He is using this to line his own pockets. He is using this to get more views and more clicks and more money from the MAGA community, who are all inherently against finding out what actually happened to Nolan Wells. He is no friend to the Black community. Never has been, never will be.
Never will be.
Isn't now. And it is clear that he is just regurgitating all of the talking points that they gave him to try to make them seem more credible, even though he is constantly being caught in lies. I don't think that he's trustworthy, and I'm not trusting any of the others either.
Constantly caught in lies, constantly trying to make it seem that these boys didn't have anything to do with it. But folks were coming in and said, well, you're saying that. And no, what we're saying is Brandon Tatum is telling us that these boys had nothing to do with the demise of Nolan Wells. But these were his friends. So whether they did something or not, those boys know what happened. They were around him. You can say what you want to. The people say there's thousands of people on the island. So with all those pairs of eyes out there, nobody saw Nolan. The autopsy, yeah, some folks talk about, the different things that was missing, but some people say it's not a unusual thing for the throat and parts of the inner workings of the human body to be examined outside of the body. But can you attribute the inconsistencies on the back of his head? Again, I'm going to go back to my original thing, to what I said. I think, me personally, because I've been around some white boys that don't like you dating white girls. I think Nolan, and there was another young lady out there, they have mentioned her a few times, was dating. I think one of those boys also liked the young girl that Nolan was dating. They had alcohol. They were getting fired up. I don't know if they had wacky weed or anything else. That's speculation. But one thing we do know for sure, that they were drinking. Jealousy is a motherfucker. Just in time. All those pairs of eyes out there. Nobody saw anything. Nothing. And it wasn't like with all those people with Nolan's skin color, they wasn't going to stand out. You're absolutely right, Stacy. Somebody knows. Somebody knows. But before we get to Nancy Grace, let's move on to another one. Again, I like to find people that think like me. So shout out to this brother right here. I'll let him introduce himself.
I want to welcome you guys to another episode of Here's What I Think with your host, Charles Tabansi. So yesterday, we did a litany of shows where we were reacting to some comments that some black influencers and as well D.L. Hughley made about Officer Tatum. So as you guys know, Officer Tatum, who is a MAGA bootlicker, who panders to racist white MAGAs, he recently sat down and did an interview with with Nolan Wells, his best friend. I forgot the name of the best friend that he did. His name's best friend, Warren Hudson, right? So he did an interview with him. I think it was like a 2-hour interview on his channel, where he was essentially trying to paint this picture.
Yeah, I know this video is low, so you folks might have to screen a little bit, click closer to it or turn your volume up a little bit, because this is how I recorded it. It's kind of low. And again, I don't think 2,000 people are in on it. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not there, Richard. 2,000 people aren't on it. But there's at least 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of them that are. There's at least that many.
Via optics. Like, look, here's a black man here interviewing Nolan Wells' best friend, who's white, and I don't think anything is wrong. I mean, essentially, that's what he was doing it for. So the black people that may have felt that there's some foul play can be like, no, a black person is cool with it. And of course, the whites that want to act like there may not be some foul play here will be like, you see, this black guy, like, we get it. The grift is 100% clear. But people like Brandon Tatum act like as if what he's doing is so sophisticated and no one can figure out his grift. And today, again, he went out on X to basically troll black people. I want to read quickly what he wrote in his description before we play his comments. He says, breaking, they're lying about Nolan Wells.
Baltimore, big man, I agree with you. I think that the people that are in charge of this investigation, I think they have some key evidence that will either exonerate or let these boys know that you about to spend some time in jail. I think it's just a question of who you know and who you don't know. For those of you who are down here in South Carolina, we know there was a big case to where I can't think of his last name, but it's another boat incident to where a young lady lost her life, and because this well-to-do family down here in Charleston, South Carolina, had a whole bunch of money for years, they was either stall or get people to cover up or lie about what happened. So much so that when the truth started coming out, other people started disappearing. Maybe that's why they don't want nobody to say nothing, because there's some well-connected folks involved with this case. They're judges, police chiefs, captains, doctors, prominent people in that Mississippi area is connected to this case through hook or crook.
And I flew to Mississippi to expose the truth. After reviewing the evidence and speaking directly with the people involved, I believe Benjamin Crump, Al Sharpton, and others helped turn Nolan's tragic death into a racial narrative that doesn't match the facts. The evidence I've seen tells a very different story, and these boys deserve to have their side heard. I'm laying out the evidence, the interviews, and everything I uncovered. Stay tuned. Take a listen to this guy here.
I got to say something real quick. Benjamin Crump should be ashamed of himself. Al Sharpton should be ashamed of themselves. I'm right here in Mississippi. It's crazy that I had to fly down here to even get this information. They've been lying on these boys. I got evidence, and I'm going to show it to you, and I'm going to lay it out for you. It is a shame that that boy Nolan did not get the respect that he deserved. In my opinion, they turned his death into a racial thing, destroying the community. You name it, they did it. And we got evidence that it wasn't just 4 boys with him. We got evidence that they asked Nolan to get back on the boat, and he refused to because he grown. We got evidence that the boys reached out to the parents, that Benjamin Crump and them didn't refuse to reach out to these boys.
Okay. Your child is missing, Tatum. You ping your son's phone. His friends don't tell you right away that they have the phone. The reason you find out that these children, as you want to call them boys, have the phone, no, the body wasn't found the next day, Richard. See, you're uninformed. He was in the water for at least 2 days, sir. He disappeared on the 4th. They found him on the 6th. That's 2 days. That's 48 hours, Richard. But back to what I was saying. So when the mother goes to pick up the phone, she's met with hostility, so much so that the daddy had to come there also. Now, common sense here, Richard, follow me. If you're friends with Nolan Wells and you know there's nothing wrong with him, why would you be interested in giving his phone to his mama? Don't you know Nolan knows where you live? Man, I appreciate you holding on to my phone for me. Yeah, I had a blast on the island. I got a call back, but I appreciate you keeping my phone for me so it wouldn't get wet on the island. If there was nothing wrong with Nolan Wells, why would they be in such hellfire to take his phone and take it to the mother instead of saying, well, Nolan will be around in a little while to come get his phone? Your point might stand, but it need a kickstand. Your point is not going to stand up by itself, Richard. Your point is not, it needs something to lean on. Because every one of your points so far, you're going in one ear and out the other. And if you're talking about that audio, it is what it is. The audio is what it is, Richard. You can act like it don't exist. You can act like the lady that broke this part of it wide open had something, some nefarious reasons. She don't know them boys. She didn't know Nolan Wells. But if you go back to the first video I did, I also said them voices in the background mean something. I wish there was a way that we could clarify them voices because we could hear what's going on. There's obviously some chaos going on that boat. I'd like to know what it is. She found out. Now, me being in the music industry, creating drops, making sure that songs that I play on the radio station are in the correct pitch or whatever, or removing songs that I want to use, so I can use the instrumental version of it. There are ways to do that. You can separate sounds. We heard, say that again, Kimmy. The audio is clear. The only thing that's not clear is the fact of why folks want to say it's a hoax. Even Nancy Grace herself said it. If it is true, why wouldn't it be true?
And I've talked to him. I've seen the evidence with my own eyes. I've seen that there was more than just 4 people. There was 3 boats full of kids. I know that they left and they had nothing to do with this. And instead of them saying and standing up for these boys and saying, look, we don't know what happened. We want justice for Nolan. These boys didn't have no involvement. Instead, they want to make it about race. And it is a shame. And I'm so heated, man. I went out to Horn Island. We got all the video. We got the interviews. The boys wanted to talk to me because I'm the only one there to give them a voice because everybody else is fake, fraudulent, looking out for themselves.
What about the law giving them the voice? How about that? There is a judicial system in the United States of America. That's where their voice, that's the only voice that should count. Again, I'm not assigning any blame to Nolan Wells' friends. But one thing's for sure, they will have a voice. The voice gonna say innocent or guilty if the grand jury says, there is probable cause here, because we all know you can indict a ham sandwich if you want to. We see the Trump regime doing it all day long. The guy with the reflecting pool. They wanted to charge him. They wanted to charge somebody else for taking a picture of some seashells. So you can indict a clam or a ham sandwich if you want to. But when you go up to them 12 people on that jury, that is your voice. Not this loser right here.
And it's a shame, man. It's a shame. Nolan deserved better than what they did. They out here hoodwinking, trying to raise money and make stuff about race, and they have no evidence. They lied about the phone getting deleted. It's a shame, man. But y'all finna find out, and a lot of y'all gonna have to apologize for the stuff that you said. You're gonna have to take that video down and apologize because you are part of the lie.
So you saw him there, right? Well, a liberal by the name of, what's his name here? Secret Service Sam decided to do a video where he was essentially exposing clowns like Officer Tatum. And
shout out Secret Service Sam. If you don't know who he is, folks, go over and check him out. Secret Service Sam keeps the foot on the neck of them so-called yassa bosses. And you'll be surprised if you don't know who Secret Service Sam is. You'll be surprised when you see him.
The Hodge twins and the rest of them. And I think he did an absolutely beautiful job explaining it. And the reason why I think this is going to hit harder is because this is coming from a white person.
That's right. DA, you're absolutely right. I said that in the video that I said. He was too calm for a boat to be sinking. And if also in the first video that I did, you clearly hear them saying, when they got onto the phone, the grandfather already knew what was going on. He already had called, he already had talked to somebody. So somebody on that boat called the grandfather. The grandfather called that sea tow company. And the grandfather said, no, we got it under control. But the voices that we heard talking to that lady on the other end of that phone, that voice was drunk. That voice was incoherent. And he made sure to say that there were only underage people on the boat. Why? Because they know if the Coast Guard came, they were going to see all them beer cans and that alcohol that they had on that boat. Somebody was going to be in trouble because they didn't buy it. Some adults had to buy it for them. You put that in the picture too. Somebody had to buy that alcohol for them underage drinkers. Am I right? Richard, you agree with that?
Sees through tokens like Officer Tatum's grift. Take a listen to what this guy said here.
Secret Service Sam here with a message about people like Officer Tatum, the Hodge twins, black men who make money off white fragility. And you have to understand, they are just using black atrocities to make money and to appeal to the MAGAs, the Fox crowd, the white racist people who love to hang on to one black man willing to validate all of their racist views. And that is exactly what Officer Tatum does. He is literally the definition of a race baiter. That's the irony, is he calls everybody else a race baiter, makes it about race, but you have to understand when you are in the minority, we don't see anybody white in his comments. Go look at Officer Tatum. Go look at the Hodge twins. Go look at any of these corny ass
Anton Daniels, the Hodge twins, and the list goes on. Normally, the people in their comment section are folks that think like Brandon Tatum, that believe that racism is dead in this country, that are MAGA, that are Trump supporters. Those are the people in the comment sections. Those are the people that have come over here and say that Brandon Tatum has common sense.
content creators who played a white racist and show me more than one black person in their comments. I challenge you to find that on any one of their videos, on any one of their posts. And they're always the first to say, let's not make this about race because...
Let's not make this about race, Richard. Let's go back to common sense, Richard. Let's try this. If it was just a simple accidental drowning, wouldn't we know that already? Do you know when you drown, you have water in your lungs, right? So if it was just a simple case of drowning, they already had an autopsy. If he just drowned, what would be the purpose of the mark on his back of his head? What would be the purpose of just writing out the death certificate that says cause of death, accidental drowning? Why do we know that? Because he had water in his lungs. Just like if you die in a fire, and if you're not dead before the fire gets to you, usually they say that you didn't die from the flames, you died from the smoke inhalation.
That comforts white racist people. And then they get a huge crowd because of the way they're willing to speak, because it's not a majority of black people who think like that at all. Most black people in America can acknowledge and understand from their own experience how racist our justice system is and America is. For the reason that you never see a white woman being pulled out of her car and slammed to the ground. For the reason you don't see white women get followed around shopping mall stores because they're being accused of stealing. It's all there, but these sell out your souls, black men, content creators. I'm sure there's women too. Candace Owens used to do that before she got on a different lane. But they're all the same. And all you white racist people need to notice, ask yourself, why is it only white people in the comment section, right? If this black man telling you about these things, why aren't other black people agreeing with it? Ask yourself that. And Officer Tatum and the Hodge twins and anybody else I'm forgetting, they are disgusting and disgraceful. And it's Samuel L. Jackson in Django Unchained. You know that? That's what they're doing. Secret Service Sam out Sansa for president of the world.
Hold on just a second there, ladies and gentlemen. Since he brought up the Django.
Steve, how you like my new duds? You know, for now, I didn't know that burgundy was my color.
I count 6 shots, nigga.
I count 2 guns, nigga. You said in 76 years on this plantation, you seen all manner of shit done to niggas. But I noticed, you didn't mention kneecapping.
You didn't mention kneecapping, nigga. 70-some years. How old is Brandon Tatum? How old is Brandon Tatum? He's probably in his maybe late 40s, early 50s. I'll give him that. He's been on this earth long enough to know, especially as a black man, he's been here long enough to know that there is systemic, fuck it. There's a whole lot of racism in this country. Systemic racism. It is. It absolutely is. And for you, Brandon Tatum, to get up and say that there isn't or any other, you yassa bosses, there's something wrong with you. I count 6 shots, nigga. And I got 2 guns. So when you think you're coming at me with some bullshit, I got another gun loaded to shoot you down. I tell you, let you know you're wrong. Racism is live. It's flourishing, especially since 2016 when your boy took the throne. Proud Boys. How many of y'all really ever heard of the Proud Boys before 2016 and 2020? So do I. So do I, Kimmy. How many of y'all knew about the Oath Keepers before 2020? Jews will not replace us. Remember? How come all these racists all of a sudden feel so emboldened? Because it's the powers that be that is allowing them to do that. The police brutality hasn't stopped. They're still snatching people out of cars, beating them to death. It's still, they're still stop and frisk. All that still goes on. Jamel Hill made MAGA lose their damn mind when she talked about the Electoral College. Y'all do know the Electoral College is a remnant of slavery. Y'all do know that's why it was created. And if you don't believe me, go look at 2 states, Arizona and New Jersey. I think at some point in time, whatever it is, they had the same amount of white men. But the South had a double that population because they wanted to count their slaves as, so they came up with this, 3/5 compromise. All that ties back to the Electoral College. That's a remnants of slavery, and Jamel Hill was absolutely right. But folks are on TV losing their mind. If she would have been on ESPN, I guarantee you she'd have woke up to a no job today. I guarantee it. And it's funny how black people will lose their jobs for calling out the obvious. But you go over to TikTok, you go over to Instagram, you got folks like Liddy Gaddis, you got folks like, what's his name? Charlie Kirk, rest him up, that would use the N-word and talk, they say the most egregious things about black people in their life. Ain't that right, Lana? But they still don't lose their channels. Lily Gaddis still, matter of fact, being a racist pays. Don't pay me. Ask Brandon Tatum, what was the last check he got? I bet it was a fat one. Ask Lily Gaddis how many GoFundMe's money did she collect when YouTube kicked her off the platform for using the N-word with impunity.
So you heard what he had to say. He perfectly summarized the entire situation. Tatum is a token, okay? And he's doing what most of these COONs do, who don't have any talent. They just go out there and say, you know what? Let me just see how I can rage bait my own race, talk trash about my own race. Wasn't it Officer Tatum that said slavery was a good thing for black people?
Yep.
This man went, I believe, on Piers Morgan's show.
Yep.
And said slavery was a good thing for slavery.
And if you don't believe me, if you don't believe him, go over, type in Piers Morgan, and behind that put Brandon Tatum, and just slide on through with the clicker until you run up on him saying it. Who else is also hated by all nations over lies and deception, and not because it's literally deserved? I'm not sure what you mean by that two-story 82. So you're gonna have to expound on that a little bit more. So I'm gonna read it to you. Maybe you can tell me what you mean. Who else is also hated by all nations and over lies and deception, and not because of literally deserved? Well, uh, I live in this country. I love the United States of America. I was born here. Chances are I'll probably die here. But United States of America, true story, is hated for good reasons. Japan, those folks hate the United States of America for good reason. Philippines, some of them folks hate the United States for good reason. Some folks in the Middle East, they hate the United States. You might not think it's good reasons, but they think it's valid reasons. It's the same way we don't like some of the folks across the pond. Why is it okay for us to call them third world countries and say that they're underdeveloped when we're the real savages over here? Y'all keep saying that the United States ain't never been bombed by another country, but the United States has bombed its own citizens, those black citizens. Not once, but twice. In the 1920s and the 1980s.
A black man is saying slavery was slavery. Now, he must either be historically obtuse or he has some serious mental issues, because he must not know what took place during slavery. He must not know the grotesque things they were doing to black bodies, but he must not know, because for him to open his fat ass black lips to say that, you know that there's no level of coonery that this dude won't stoop.
I'll say it for you, brother.
And he's doing all of this for money. And do you know the saddest part about people like this? They have to do this for the rest of their life in order to maintain the cash flow that they currently have.
That's right. There's no coming back from that. That's what I was talking about earlier. He has to continue this path for the rest of his life. What black folks is going to hire Brandon Tatum? What CEO is going to hire Brandon Tatum as a spokesperson? Why is Brandon Tatum still using Officer Tatum? Because he thinks it gives him some kind of, dare I use the word, power. He's not an officer. He's a former officer. I was in the Marine Corps, but the Marine Corps says, simplified others, always faithful. That's what we use when we not in active service. Simplify, double dog. That signifies what? That I am a Marine. Folks don't run around calling me Sarge. The only people that call me Sarge is that knew me back from then. But this coon, Brandon Tatum, thinks that by keeping officer at the front of his name, he good. I got power. What's up there, Charles Humphreys? How you doing? Yeah, Tim Scott is another one of them yassa bosses. If y'all have ever watched The Cosby Show, I guarantee you, you can pick out the character that Tim Scott represents. Hey, bamamba, hubba, bubba, weeba, go, but to the junkyard. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Go look at that picture of the Cosby kids and go look at Tim Scott. Hey there, G Glow Vibes. How you doing? How you doing? Thank you so very much. Be safe out there and enjoy the content. Thank you so very much for stopping through. Any black man that says, Kim, any black man that says slavery was better for black people, like Byron Donalds when he said black people were better off during the Jim Crow era, something got to be wrong with them. It might be time for to lay down on the couch and figure out who you are. I know your mama and your daddy and your siblings, your uncles and your aunts. I know they don't claim you. Could you imagine what the family reunion is like at the Tatum household? They're going to bring some potato salad with some raisins. Going to be plenty of mayonnaise there. He get to rub elbows with the white folks. That's what he want to do. He get to tell some off-colored black jokes and get everybody laughing at him. See, I've been in those rooms where there's been one or two black men and the other black man in the room telling racial jokes. He thought this was funny when he asked me one day in front of a room full of white men, "Hey, what you get when you cross Samoan with the niggas? Samoan niggas." He thought that was funny. Right. You understand, Kim, you understand exactly what I'm talking about. I have some friends that were he was a captain of one of these big I'm gonna call it one of these Navy ships. But when I see him, when I talk to him on the phone, I might say, "What up, Captain?" And he know what I'm talking about. But normally I call him by his first name. Or I call him by his last name, because most people in the military, we're on a last name basis. Most of us don't even on a first name basis in the military. Most of us is on a rank and last name basis. Let's go.
Because if they for a second stray away, his audience would disown him.
He ain't got no more money.
His audience will leave him. To me, I just really wonder how these guys sleep at night, knowing that you're selling out your own race. I really sincerely wonder how you sleep at night. Does the money really help your conscience? Does it really help you not think about all the things that you're doing to your own people?
I think it does.
Does money mean that much to you?
I think it does. I think it means that much to them. I think, to be quite honest with you, I think the proximity to white power and the money that they get from that, they believe that's going to sustain them forever. But again, those who don't know history is doomed to repeat it. So, Officer Tatum, you better go back and ask a couple of them other Yassaballs was what happened to them. Remember the two ladies, Silky and Diamond? I know one of them passed away, but we don't hear about them no more, do we? What about the band that was singing, "I will vote for Donald Trump"? What, didn't they get deported? Let's move on to our next clip here. Let me get this off the screen. Like I said, we were going to revisit some Nancy Grace. So let's go.
The second doctor says this is all still pending investigation.
If this were your child, wouldn't you want to know what happened?
The mom.
That is the major question for all of the naysayers that come into my chat and other chats. If this was your child, wouldn't you want to know what happened? Would you want everybody and their mama speculating, like me and everybody else, what happened to my child? Or would you expect the authorities to tell you what happened to your child? We know that Nolan disappeared on 4th of July. They found his body face down, washed up 2 days later. And as yet, the mother, the father, the cousins, the uncles, the aunties, all the people in Nolan's life don't know what happened to their family member. That should be enough.
Asked for Nolan's phone.
Right.
Was there a struggle over it, or did you guys hand it over?
I mean, just handed it over. I mean, we didn't think anything of it. Like, she asked for Nolan's phone. We knew they were close friends with, the Wells family, and my buddy went out to his truck and handed the phone over. No complications, no issue, nothing. But
why? Why would you even say that? Me think thou is putting some what's they call that? Plausible denial out there. And again, my question to you, Why would y'all have Nolan's phone, or why would you be ready to hand the phone over to the mother? The mother had to come find the phone. She didn't know y'all had it. She pinged it and it showed up at your address. And then when they get there, you said there was no argument over the phones, but it's obvious there's a different story with that, because you versus your story, all we did was just hand them the phone. There was nothing to be seen here. But according to the mother and according to other people, there was some argument. There was some disagreement about why you folks had Nolan's phone.
I mean, I told Miss Christine that we had his phone and he had left it in our possession on the boat.
Why? Why would you call Miss Christine up and tell him, hey, we got Nolan's phone? If she knew that you had Nolan's phone, why would she be pinging it? Why would she be tracking the phone if she knew y'all had it? If you called already and said, we got Nolan's phone, because you knew the next question would have been, why y'all got Nolan's phone? Where is he? Why y'all got Nolan's phone and not him? Common sense.
When did you talk to her about that?
When I was on, no, I didn't talk to her once, like, it was like 12:30. I mean, I might have texted her a couple times and, like, you know, talked briefly about a couple things, but I never.
When did you text her? That should be a question. When did you text her? Did you text her when Nolan handed you his phone and say, hey, I'm going to stay on the island, keep my phone? Or did you text them after you got home and said, hey, I got Nolan's phone? When did you text her? It also comes into play, according to Brandon Tatum, that there wasn't very good service on the island. So we're going to take for shits and giggles that you did not text her while you were on the island. We're going to take for shits and giggles that you did not text her when y'all was putting out that distress call on the boat.
You know, I told her on the phone before I called the Coast Guard that we had Nolan's phone. Before I called Miss Christine,
before I called the Coast Guard, I told Miss Christine we had Nolan's phone. Before I called the Coast Guard, if there was nothing nefarious going on, why would you even need to call the Coast Guard? If you was out of the boat, if you weren't sinking anymore, so it means that you called the Coast Guard while you were on the boat sinking. You texted Nolan's mother while you were on the boat. That's what I can deduce from that. So that just goes to give the way to say, no, Nolan was not on that boat, or Nolan was not, maybe he was incapacitated on that boat. Or maybe you thought by texting Nolan's phone, you would make him, it wouldn't be suspicious of no one to come looking for the phone. But again, I got to go back to one thing. Why, after you left the boat on your way home, why did you just take the phone and drop it off to the mother? Why did you go and see if your buddy had made it home? I got Nolan's phone. Let me go take it and drop it by his house. Officer Tatum said that y'all didn't visit each other's houses, but we know that not to be true. We know that not to be true now. Y'all say y'all had sleepovers.
None of us had a reason to go through Nolan's phone. I mean, there's multiple phones on the boat. Why would it be? And the boat was having issues. Why would our concern be getting on Nolan's phone or something? I mean,
again, don't you find it suspicious that on the day of this, all these activities and festivities going on, that there's nothing from on Nolan's phone that says that he was a part of the funds and the activities? Again, when people ask me questions, when somebody says to me, why would I lie? Why not? Why wouldn't you? When people offer me more information that I asked for, I got to be suspicious. No one said that you went through Nolan's phone. No one asked you whether you went through his phone. You volunteered that information. And yes, a Boston Tatum over there with his legs crossed, thinking he had some mic drop moment. Sir, you just opened up yourself up. Because even if a two-bit lawyer would use this against you.
I don't even know Nolan's password. None of my friends do. We had no reason ever to get on Nolan's phone and look at anything. I didn't even touch Nolan's phone. None of us touched Nolan's phone until somebody took it off the boat and put it in Wyatt's truck, and then no one touched it until we handed it back, to the mom that was at my buddy's house.
That is from the Officer Tatum show. He has interviewed several of the young men that were on the boat when Nolan Wells was taken to Horn Island. They say he was not on the boat on the return trip, although audio seems to suggest otherwise. Listen to the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources call.
Okay. Now, someone was in here earlier talking about they couldn't make this call out. Now, we know with technology that this is quite easy to figure out. And me as a DJ and a radio personality, and I create my own radio sweepers, and I do that voiceovers and all that other stuff. Sometimes you have to go in and use the noise cancellation. You have to EQ it this way. You have to EQ it that way so it balances out. Or you can remove sounds. I think you can do it in Adobe. There's all kinds of things out there. Yeah, Richard, I got the name. They used to call my mother Music when she was young, so that's where I got the name from. Don't make fun of it. Don't do that now. It's MUZIQ. Let me type it for you. Wait a minute. This is one of the rare times that I'm going to type, but I want you to notice something there, Richard. Wait a minute, Richard. I have to. Because see, they used to see that how I spelled that IQ. Notice how it's capitalized. What does IQ mean? IQ. I have a musical IQ that far exceeds the average person. But back to this. Male. Sure, he's dead. Female. Is he dead? Other male screaming at the top of his voice. No, Nolan!
Detail assistance, Vicky.
Female. Oh my God. Nolan, don't die. And that's when Vicky comes on the line. But you heard Officer Tatum say earlier that the phone call was sketchy. It dropped a lot. Is this call dropping?
Speaking, how can I help you?
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership.
All right, of course. How far is the water coming up, sir? Can you give me a description? Ankles? Hello?
Hey.
Yes, how far is the water coming up?
He wasn't talking. He was not talking to the dispatcher just now. He's not paying attention to the dispatcher. Y'all listen to this. Let me back up just a little bit.
Trip. Although audio seems to suggest otherwise. Listen to the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources call.
Detail assistance, Vicky speaking. How can I help you?
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership.
All right, of course. How far is the water coming up, sir? Can you give me a description? Ankles? Hello?
He's not paying attention to her. He's paying attention to whoever that voice is that we heard in the background. That's who he's paying attention to.
Hey.
Yes, how far is the water coming up, sir?
It's coming up. We're just sinking. I don't know. Like we're going down.
All right, well, let's get you going. Membership number or phone number listed on the account, sir.
I don't know the phone number. It's either. I think it's. Try that.
All right.
I know we have a membership, like guaranteed. I don't have the tag on.
And that's another fair point there, Kim. These folks are around water all the time. To be quite honest with you, I'm used to it. So if I see a little water coming into boat, I take it as in splash, or I take it as in, that's something that's going to happen. I've been in boats and around boats damn near my entire life. So it's not uncommon to see water in a boat. And when I heard someone say, jump in and pull the plug, that's the worst thing you could have done. The plug is there to drain the boat from water that might come in. If you pull the plug out, that means you're letting seawater or lake water in. Of course the boat gonna sink. But again, as we listen to this video, this audio, does it seem like who's on the other end speaking to the dispatcher? Do they seem like they're in panic mode? They seem preoccupied. They seem drunk. But they don't seem to be in panic.
Do you have a membership number or anything? It's okay. I'll get you over to the captain. What's the best phone number to reach you at?
Reach me at
particular phrases in that call, if it's to be believed. Nolan, don't die. Sure, he's dead. Is he dead? Nolan, OMG. Wake the F up. It goes on. I thought he was on the check his chest. That, if it's to be believed, suggests that Nolan was on that boat. Tatum says the witnesses are clear. He was not on the boat. Tonight, we learned in the last 24 hours.
Okay, this is the thing for all the naysayers out there. If Nolan wasn't on the boat, and we know that this particular bit of information was pulled by someone that had no skin in this game. No skin in the game. Explain to me why all of those people in there either saying, is he dead? And why are we hearing Nolan's voice? Nolan's voice. Why are we hearing somebody else's voice calling Nolan if he is not on the boat? If they already know that he was left back at Horn Island. Common sense. That's what we're trying to get at here. Common sense. We're not going to go through this whole video, but I just want to point out to Brandon Tatum how dumb you look. Why people are calling you coon. Why people are calling you Ricky Raccoon.
The Nolan Wells family hits social media giants with subpoenas for all information related to Nolan's phone. First, straight out to Dave Matt Crime Stories.
What's that? TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, any place where these kids collect information, store information, or use to communicate. Y'all do know just because you delete something off your phone, you might be able to see it. Your girlfriend might not be able to see it. Your wife might not be able to see it. But if you do something to somebody and they go back and they pull your phone apart and they can do a forensic analysis and tell you did everything you did from the day that you started using that phone. Every text message that you deleted, every picture that you deleted is still on your phone. And again, Kim, there's other boats in the area. Again, we all know thing about boating. There's if you don't know, there's a camaraderie out there. If you see somebody with a distressed vessel, you throw them a lifeline. You tow them in. Now, from what I'm understanding about that day, there were several boats out there going to and from Horn Island. Me and my moms and my pops and my brothers and my sisters, we used to go fishing on the Intercoastal Waterway in South Carolina, Sullivan's Island. There's a green sign and there's a red sign. Red, right, returning. Green means you're going out to sea. Red means you're coming in. Those are just simple things. If you've been around boating long enough to know that you know it's not unusual to have water in the boat. So to your point there, Kim, they're not going to panic because they've seen it before. This is not an unusual occurrence, but they are preoccupied with something else. And again, if Nolan was left at the island, why did we hear somebody screaming his name on that distressed boat?
Investigative reporter. Then we will be joined by Brandon Tatum. Dave Mack, what's happening?
Right now, Nancy, the family of Nolan Wells has announced that they are going after, they have subpoenaed documents for Nolan Wells' phone. They've gone to the media giants like, TikTok, Instagram, the Meta companies, everybody that Nolan Wells used to push out videos of what he was doing and pictures. And they're trying to, they believe that some material was deleted from Nolan's phone. And this is what they're trying to prove with these subpoenas, to get all of the information, as well as, by the way, the location tracking app, Life 360. So you guys.
Okay, so let me ask you this, for all the naysayers out there, what are you folks going to say when it's proven that there were items, pictures, and text messages deleted from Nolan Wells' phone? What excuse do you think Brandon Tatum is going to come up with then? What excuse are the naysayers that's going to come up with me? Because that's the next time I'm going to do a live stream about this. What are y'all going to come in here and say then? That I'm race baiting? That I'm a grifter? Or will you come back and apologize and say, hey, Mr. Music, remember when you was doing that stream a couple weeks ago? And you said there was some nefarious information or some bullshit going on, and you called Brandon Tatum a Yazzaboss and clown? You was right, sir. You was right.
Snapchat, WhatsApp, TikTok, Meta platforms, and Life 360. All of this, the court documents already filed, Nancy.
Nolan Wells' family slapped subpoenas on multiple social media giants seeking his account information and data. This into the investigation of the teen college football player's mysterious death.
Okay, this is another thing that Brandon Tatum said. He said that the black community, his exact words, the black community didn't fuck with Nolan Wells. That's why he was on that island with a bunch of white boys, because the black community, he didn't have no black friends. All he had was white friends. That's out of the mouth of Brandon Tatum, but y'all will come in here and call me a race baiter. Y'all will come in here and say that Brandon Tatum got common sense. Y'all will come in and say that. Yeah, he said that. He also said that without any provocation, without any prior knowledge, he also said that Nolan Wells had cocaine in the system. How do you know that? We do know those folks on the boat was drunk because we can hear them slurring.
They were issued in the last 24 hours, including Snapchat, WhatsApp, TikTok, Meta platforms, Life 360, and these are according to court documents demanding the companies turn over all materials info related to Nolan's accounts. This includes current and prior usernames, passwords, email addresses, phone numbers, even.
Now, I want y'all to look at this set of pictures that were just passed up. This is another thing that Brandon Tatum said. He said, and other folks have said, maybe the parents weren't active in Nolan's life. Those pictures just shut that up, didn't it? Those pictures just now shut up. Did this guy look like, no disrespect, I'm not being disrespectful of them when I say this, but did this guy look like that he did not document his life at any chance that he got?
Displayed names. They want IP addresses associated with every account, all communications, chats, posts, stories, and info. His cell phone has become a critical issue in the probe into Nolan's death. What happened to Nolan? Now, his mother, Christine, says when her son's phone was brought to the family, they had concerns because there were no pictures or videos on either of his Snapchat accounts. Triggering their fear, items may have been deleted. That's what's happening. There's been a lot of controversy. Were photos, were texts deleted? Were snaps deleted? We've been trying to figure it out, but we're seeing through a mirror darkly. We don't know. But according to experts, a trail will be left if anything has been deleted, even if you delete it from the deleted file. Now, joining us, special guest, Brandon Tatum. You know him well. He's a former police officer with Tucson PD. That's what impresses me. What impresses a lot of other people is he is the star of The Officer Tatum. Officer Tatum, thank you for being with us tonight.
Yes, boss and Officer Damn Tatum. What's up there, Glenda? Glenda? How you doing? Isabella, Isabel, thank you so very much for coming in. I'm sorry, folks. I got to squint to read these names sometimes. So if I don't get right on the first one, I'm going to get your name right. All right, Glenda? Thank you so very much. Thank you so very much for coming through, folks. Again, if you don't mind, like, share, subscribe to the channel, please. If you don't mind, if you don't like my content, you know, I understand that it's not for everybody. You know, the truth will set you free. And sometimes the truth comes from places where you might not necessarily expect it. I don't have a dog in this fight. But if Brandon Tatum does, he got money on the line. So he's possibly going to say any damn thing he could possibly say to keep that money flowing. That's another good point there, Stitch. Why did they just go ahead and give them the phone right away? It wouldn't have taken long. We've all watched episodes of the first 48 and all these doggone Snapped and all these different cop shows. I got to go back to the old cop shows, though. The Columbos, the what's that with Telly Savalas and Kojak, way back when I was a young boy then, but Dragnet. These folks let you hang yourself, especially Peter Falk in Columbo. He let you hang yourself. Don't they? Peter Falk, when he turned around and said, he asked you a poignant question for a reason, because he's going to come back and use it against you later. And that's how I think people should be with Brandon Tatum. Let him talk. Because every time he opens up his mouth, insert foot.
Question to you. You interviewed, as we played at the get-go, several of Nolan's friends. Did they show you photos, videos, snaps of that day on Horn Island?
Well, Nancy, thank you so much for having me on. I spoke to 4 of the boys that are originally accused.
Okay, Colleen, I try to be respectful to especially the women that come in here. But Colleen, what are you talking about? The money flowing. Officer Tatum approaches the situation with an unbiased and people who are making money off of it. This is Crump and his cronies. Well, Benjamin Crump is a lawyer. That is his job. That is the way he makes money, Colleen. Do you expect him to do everything for free? This wide-eyed Yassa boss on the screen right here is a content creator, is a YouTube personality. It don't take much, and I'm not taking away from any YouTube content creator, but it don't take much to turn your camera on. It don't take much to get up here and spout shit that makes no sense. I could tell you 2 + 4 is 5. And I could have an argument with you all day long about the earth is flat, but that don't make me right. But as long as I'm getting some money to do it, I'm going to argue with you till the cows come home, Colleen. Right or wrong don't pay the bills. Money does. Wouldn't you agree?
Of being involved in Nolan Wells' death. And they did show me a lot of evidence. I want people to be very clear with this. I spent my career putting people in jail. My career is based on getting justice for people who have been done wrong. I've never been a defense attorney. So me going out and doing this was to find out what happened to Nolan Wells. And in talking to these young men, the burden of proof is they're going to have to prove to me. I'm not going to listen to what they say out of their mouth. They're going to have to show me. And in many cases, they showed me videos of Nolan on the island. They showed me videos of the boat when they were getting towed out, which is consistent with, kind of similar to what the phone call was. I mean, they showed me pictures of them with Nolan. They showed me phone records of them calling Nolan's mom and all of the above. So they seemed very consistent. They seemed very genuine. And they also proved to me some of the things that they had told me in the interview that I had with them that I have uploaded on my YouTube channel.
Officer Tatum, are you telling me that they had reception on Horn Island? Because many people are saying, well, the reason that there's nothing on Nolan's phone of that day, like there's no pictures, there's no snaps, there's no text, there's no anything, not because it was deleted, but because he didn't have reception. But you're telling me the other boys did have snaps, photos, videos, and reception?
Yeah, no, Nancy, let me clarify this for you. It wasn't that they uploaded this online. They showed me videos and things that they took from the boat during the outing on 4th of July. I was personally out at Horn Island. I rode out there on a boat, and I didn't have great reception there. And I left my phone in the boat when I got into the water, and we were actually...
See, that's what I'm saying. He says he left his phone on the boat. And that's why I let that play again, folks, so you can come back and see that if you listen to Brandon Tatum, you understand that he is the grifter. He is the one doing the grift here. He doesn't care about Nolan Wells. He doesn't care about what happened to him. He cares about covering and giving comfort to somebody that could possibly be the reason why Nolan Wells is not on this earth anymore. Nothing but lies. That's all he does. Nothing but lie. What's up there, Raj? How you doing? Good to see you again. Knowledgeable one. Thank you for folks for coming in. I'm only going to play a little bit more of this, folks. I just just bringing it back full circle of where I started this stream from to where I'm about to end it at. So you'll hear why now. If you go back and you listen to the stream in its entirety, if you'd like to, you'll go back and say, well, damn. Mr. Music did make some valid points here. And he did bring it back home a little bit later on. Something ain't right here, folks. Who is Brandon Tatum? Why is he so hell-bent? Why was he so hell-bent on going down to Mississippi and proving that these 3 or 4 boys had nothing to do with Nolan Wells' death? With all the other shit that he could have been talking about. Why this?
Going out to do interviews.
Objection. You've been in court long enough to know you're going to get objections. You said you didn't have great reception, but you did have reception, did you not?
No, there was reception there. It just wasn't great, and it wasn't great enough for people, in my opinion, to upload. You can make a phone call potentially, but you wasn't going to upload data to a social media account. Now, could people take the steps to do it if they're dedicated enough? Yes, but it doesn't appear that would have been a frequent thing, given the fact that you probably had 1 or 2 bars out there.
Okay, so I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, so I'm just going to say Mel or Megan, whatever. Let me read you. Making assumptions only makes you the first 3 hosts. You have no evidence to make a criminal determination. He went because none of you did. First of all, Ham 462. I have not made a criminal assumption about anything on this platform. What I'm clearly saying, and I'll say this to you again, just as you quick to call out that I'm not the authority on this, neither is Brandon Tatum. If Brandon Tatum would have not taken his black ass down to Horn Island, if Brandon Tatum had not taken his black Yazzie ass to Nancy Grace's show and say the egregious things that he said about the lawyers, the mother, the fact that this kid did or didn't have cocaine in his system, that everybody turned into a race, why y'all always want to come in here and throw shade at the folks that throw shade back at Tatum? Explain that. I didn't make any assumptions. They did. I'm only covering the assumptions that they made.
And I heard evidence of that. Not only did I see evidence of it when I went out there myself personally with my cell phone, when I listened to the CETO call, you could tell that the call dropped out several times. It seemed like they were having trouble at times hearing it.
Okay, y'all heard the call. That wasn't true. Y'all heard the call. That wasn't true. We know now that he's through his own through fruition that they had at least 2 bars of service out there. So it wasn't virtually impossible for Nolan or anyone else on that island to upload something onto TikTok, Instagram, or Facebook, or YouTube. It wasn't impossible, as he first claimed.
Each other. So it is consistent. And anybody that travel out there that have gone to the 4th of July celebration, they know that the reception is not very great. So the videos that they showed me in call logs were things that were not associated to social media, that they never posted on social media. It was, pictures and videos that they took on their phone.
Okay. Let me refine my question. I take it from your last answer that the answer is yes, you had reception on Horn Island.
Yes, I did have reception on Horn Island.
We just played that CETO call. It's 2 words, SEATOW, and it's kind of insurance that people have that are boat goers. And if you have a problem, CETO will come and tow you back to the mainland. They said they had a problem. They said they were taking on water. One of your takes is that all the chatter that we're hearing wake up, Nolan, are you dead, Nolan, wake the F up, Nolan, could be referring to the battery, the bilge on the boat, that it's all unclear. Regarding the boat being disabled, apparently it was not. Listen.
So first, at 9:56 a.m., the boat leaves the original.
Okay, folks. Now, I guess somebody's going to come up here and argue with the with GPS. I guess somebody's going to come up here and argue with the global tracking system, right? Again, I've been around boats my entire life, damn near. So let's look at this timeline from where the boat was, from that time of morning at 9:56 in the morning until they got off the boat. Let's go. Since Brandon Tatum is so actual and factual, all he does bring it to the table is conjecture. All he's bringing to the table is guessing, but everybody else is bringing information like this. Look.
Dock. It arrives at Horn Island at 11:14. So at around 4 o'clock, there is a call to the Coast Guard about the boat. NBC News got a hold of it.
We're sinking. Can y'all please come?
And is everybody on board in good health otherwise?
Yeah, everybody's on board.
Everybody's on board. So does that mean Nolan is on there?
Yeah, everybody. So, but they says that Nolan was left back at the island. What's up there, Easy Money? Thank you for the 10 jewels. Appreciate it. Thank you so very much. Again, folks, for all of you that's coming in, some of you are meeting for the first time. I really do appreciate the fact that you're stopping here at the live stream. You could be anywhere else on YouTube listening to what other folks got to say about this, but I really appreciate the fact that you stopped here and listened to what I had to say. I may not be right on all aspect of it. Some of what I'm saying might be speculation, but what I am saying is that something is wrong here. If it was just a simple case of young Nolan Wells drowning, you should be hearing from me. If it was a simple case of young Nolan Wells drowning, you shouldn't be hearing from Officer Tatum. If it was a simple case of young Nolan Wells drowning, you should not be hearing from Nancy Grace. What we all should be collective saying, if we found out about it, condolences to the family on your loss. Sorry you lost your son at such a young age. But none of us can say that because we don't know if he was hit at the back of the head. We don't know if he drowned. We don't know if he was choked out. We don't know none of that. Bad PR angle, Stitch. Again, if there was nothing nefarious about what the boys did or anybody else did, why just not go ahead and report it? Why not call the proper authorities and said, hey, our friend has been gone. We thought we left him on the island, but he's not there. And why the mama got to come and get that phone? Why the mama got to come get them phone? Got to ping the phone to find out was that to me is one of the most problematic things that I can't get over. Why would you call the mama before you call the Coast Guard? That tells me you called the mama while you was on the boat. So that also tells me that Nolan possibly couldn't have been on the boat, or if he was on the boat, he was incapacitated. Wait a minute. And see, this is a Stitch. No disrespect, but this is another problem that I'm having. Again, someone that had nothing to do with this case, someone that separates sounds for a living, so to speak, someone that puts EQ in the right place, someone like me. I'm in the radio and music business, so I'm around a lot of artists that say they got to put that final spin to it, or they got to separate this sound, or they got to separate that sound, or they got to make this better, or they got to add this to it. So it's not unusual for somebody to be able to recreate. Now I won't even use the word recreate. I'll say to separate different sounds on different channels, especially if you're recording from one device to the other. If you look at the overall thing of it, I want you to put a CD or a MP3 into a small box. And you're looking down at that box. If you could see it as sound, you would see all the different sounds that make up that box. And if you took this sound out, like you know, if you go into a beehive, you pull out this tray, you won't see that, you won't hear that sound in the ending anymore. If you pull this one out, and if you separate it, you still can play that sound here and play that sound here, or sample a sound. Starting to make sense to you now? So she had no dog in the fight. She had no dog in the fight. She just ran across something that, like for me, that didn't sound, wait a minute, this don't sound right. Ain't got nothing to do. And it was shocking to her, the young lady that broke this. It was shocking to her what she heard.
Who was on that boat? At 4:31, the boat leaves Horn Island and it is towed approximately 3 miles, and then the tow ends. So after 3 miles, they go back to the original dock, okay? They arrive at 5:44 p.m. So it looks like this is where Horn Island is, and this is where the original dock is that I am referring to. I looked it up, and El Camino Real Road is in Gulf Hills, Mississippi, which is right above Ocean Springs. So I'm wondering if this is the house where they got the phone. Now, the boat travels to Fort Bayou. At 6:06, the boat returns to the original dock. Then, from the original dock, the boat goes back to Fort Bayou, and then they go to the boat launch, and it is put onto the trailer and moved by the vehicle. Did they drive?
All that moving back and forth, going from this whatchamacallit, this dock to this dock to that dock. But all this time, this boat was supposed to be sinking. Y'all don't find that suspicious? Y'all don't find that suspicious? I do. Appreciate that, knowledgeable one. Appreciate the jewels. Thank you so very much. Appreciate it. Thank you so.
Drop people off at the original dock, travel to Fort Bayou, pick somebody up, and go back to that original dock. And then from there, why was there an hour and 13-minute time gap? This boat was sinking hours before, and then they're just having it docked for an hour and 13 minutes. You would think they'd want to get that boat out of the water ASAP.
That from the real tick.
You would think that they would want to get that boat out of the water ASAP if, in fact, it was taking on water. But we now know that the boat traveled back and forth. The boat sat in the water for at least another hour before it made another passage back to it. So the idea that the boat was sinking, that and it was in such distress, we can't believe that anymore, can we? Because again, folks, like I said, I've been around boats my entire life. I remember from the age of 5, 6, 7, when my moms and pop boat, the first outboat Evan Rude motor. If that boat is sinking, or if that plug is not in the hole, you're not riding up and down the intercoastal waterway with a boat that's taking on water. You're not going to let it sit without putting it back on this trailer, knowing that it's taking on water and not finding out why. Let's see what this is. Let me see. Again, Notakimbe 2. I'm sorry, I messed up your name. My bad. Should have came in here earlier. Yeah, this is the day for messing up names. But it says, why are we not hearing the versions of others who were there? Why they not questions? I fear that this would end up being a cold case and the way it was handled. This case should have been resolved within the second week. If it was a simple case of an accident or a drowning, I agree with you. It's got to be something more than that. No, this is never going to be a cold case, though. They're going to get to the bottom of it. They're going to get to the bottom of this because, unfortunately, you know what they can't do? They can't besmirch Nolan's name. They don't have the regular tools to say he was a bad kid, that his parents was unemployed, that he came from a broken home, a single parent household. They can't use none of those tropes that they use, like in the Freddie Gray case, like in the Philando Castile case, like in all these other cases. They don't have that. They don't have that. You got another 5 minutes here, folks, and then I'm gonna shut this down.
Talk detective, the boat wasn't sinking. They told Cito it was sinking. What's the truth? Was it sinking and they repaired it? Did they have a leak and they repaired it and kept on SOP? Brandon Tatum joining us, former cop, now star of The Officer Tatum. Did the young man explain those travels we just identified?
Yeah, 100% they did that. I wish that people on the internet would have had an opportunity, and they can go look at the interview that I did with Warren, but they had an opportunity to actually talk to these young men to get this in perspective, because some people have no idea how boats function and how they work. They explained to me, they took me on a boat and showed me exactly where they went, where they docked, where did they, stop at, how did they get the bilge pump and the water out of the boat.
Okay, Damon, little Damon. Let me ask you this, Damon. Why is Officer Tatum's version correct? Are we just supposed to take for granted that what he's saying is true? Again, in the last 2 hours and 20-some minutes that I've been here, you've never once heard me say that those boys or young men did anything. You know what I'm saying? At no time. The proof is not to us. We're only speculating from what these folks put out there. He went and did the interview with the 3 or 4 boys. He made us ask these questions. If he had not interviewed Wyatt, we wouldn't be, none of us would be talking about what Wyatt said. If he hadn't taken his ass to Horn Island to prove the fact that there was no cell phone reception out there, he proved to us that there was. If we didn't hear the occupants of the boat say and call into Cito and say we're sinking, and then we see hours later that they're moving the boat back and forth, we have enough evidence to say something ain't right without saying these boys are guilty or innocent. There is enough evidence for enough questions. Wouldn't you say so, Damon? Wouldn't you think so, Damon?
And all of the above. So they were sinking. They were taking on water. The water came up high enough that the batteries weren't working. They had to get a tow to kind of tow them out. Where you can see the young lady saying about 3 miles out. It's a complicated boat's jargon, but they ended up getting the boat out. They ended up getting it to the point where they could run the boat, run the water out of the boat through a hole in the boat that they ended up plugging. They explained all this. Anybody that does boating know exactly what they're talking about if you hear them explain it on the interview. So they have a...
Okay, I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm talking about. And everything you just said, Officer Tatum, is hogwash. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. I've had a captain's license to operate a boat for quite some time. For quite some time. I've been around people, not yachts, boats, bass boats. So I don't know what you're talking about. This other shit. Well, this is this, and it's a complicated whatchamacallit. No, if the boat's sinking, it's sinking. There's nothing complicated about that. If the boat is incapacitated, there's nothing about that. You said, well, I heard them. Someone said it was dead. They're talking about the battery. Couldn't have been talking about the battery because the timeline shows that the boat was moving back and forth. But they all calling me dumb. No, Damon, it's not my place to show any evidence of these boys' innocence or guilt. That's not my place. And that's what I'm trying to tell you about Brandon Tatum. It's not his place either. Let the system do what it do. But the reason why people are starting to say, wait a minute, the system in Mississippi ain't doing what it's supposed to do because of the historical injustices done to black people in the state of Mississippi. Ain't that right? Logical assessment. How you doing, good brother? No, I didn't say that either. I didn't say, see, you guys come in here, you put words in my mouth, big pimpin'. Big pimpin', spending cheese, and we'll be big pimpin'. No, sir. No, not all. No, not all authority figures are white. Yeah, that's kind of crazy for you to say that. We're gonna listen for another 2-3 minutes of Officer Tatum here because I just want to end up this show with how dumb this guy really is.
Explanation for all of these things. And not only that, Nancy, they showed me video of them on the boat and Nolan was not on the boat. Nolan was not on the boat log. And there are people who saw Nolan on the island closer to around 6 p.m., which is far after they left, far after this phone call was made.
Okay. Brandon Tatum. If that were true, let me go back. Let me see if I can find it. If that were true, explain that. Explain why at 6 p.m. or something, the boat traveled from point A to point B again. Don't you know we could figure out who was on that boat and who wasn't? If Nolan Wells was on the boat or on the island, wouldn't we know? The itinerary speaks for itself. So if the major thing that they say was causing them the problem, Officer Tatum, was the boat sinking, why is the boat still traveling up and down the intercoastal waterway? Can you explain that? I'm not making anything up, folks. I'm just reporting it. Sometimes folks like to shoot the messenger. Don't shoot the messenger. Go ask Officer Tatum why he put this shit out here like this. A logical assessment. You must have been in here earlier. You must have listened to my stream the other day. I think that's what it boils down to. I think one of those boys had a crush on the other girl, on one of those girls. One of those girls liked Nolan better. A little bit of alcohol is bravado for some folks. Makes you want to stand up. It's that liquid courage, encouragement. I do believe in my heart of hearts, and again, I could be wrong, so I'm going to use the word speculate. I think one of them white dudes got mad because Nolan was putting that chocolate in that peanut butter. Y'all see what I'm saying? The Reese's cup, dipping it in there. I think that's what the whole thing is about. Just my personal opinion. How do I know? I'm a client. Been around. I've dated other women. And some folks don't like the idea that me as a black man or a dark man dated a white woman. Because sometimes I hate to say this, folks. I live in the South. I live in Charleston, South Carolina, or whereabouts area. The worst thing that you can call a white woman down here in the South is an end lover. In Mississippi, go back to Mississippi Burning. Go watch that movie in its entirety. And you'll see why folks are skeptical about anything of racial inequality or racial injustice or racial justice coming out of the state of Mississippi. So look what's happened in Jackson, Mississippi. Go look for yourself. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank everybody that spent the last 2 hours and 35 minutes with me. I'm not sure exactly what we'll do this weekend, but whatever we're going to do, folks, I'm going to get away from this. We might, I think tomorrow or this week, we might do some politics. As we see, you know, the Senate is, with this confirmation that's going on. I've been kind of watching it. I want to see what the complete outcome of it is, but my goodness. We think Pete Hegseth is bad, but this new attorney general that Todd Blanche, my goodness. That's all I'm gonna say about that. But that's probably what we'll be covering this weekend, ladies and gentlemen, a little politicals. So I'll drop the link for you folks that are on the weekend that like to talk the political stuff. And again, with that, thank you so very much, folks, for hanging out with me. My opinion, I'm entitled to it. Certainly you can, logical. Sure. What subject would you like to talk about? And if you want to join me on it, I'll drop the link for you and we can come up and have a conversation about it. I don't mind at all. So just let me know what you want to talk about, my brother. And I'll be more than happy to do some research on it and bring up some topic or some conversation about it so we can have a gentleman's discussion on it. Whatever, it's up to you. Whatever you want to talk about. I said that earlier too. I think he will be. I think he will be investigated, and I think he will be slapped with some charges. May not be nothing, serious, but I think Brandon Tatum is in the winding days of his YouTube career. I do believe that. It's too many lies that we can prove that he said. Too many. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, again, thank y'all so very much. Again, logical assessment. Let me know what you want to do, my brother, and we'll definitely get something together. Again, Kim, let me read some of these names. Kim, thank you for your commentary. Glenda, thank you for your commentary. Damon, thank you for your commentary. Damon! Yeah, no next Fridays. Whatchamacallit? You punk bitches better kick in. My son Damon coming home. Appreciate you, that logical. Shells, thank you so very much for stopping through. There's so many people, folks. I would have to scroll up and down there again. Friend or foe, you could have been anywhere, but thank you so much for stopping in. Remember, grace today costs you absolutely nothing, ladies and gentlemen. Say hello to someone. Might change the way they're thinking. Might change the way they're living. You never know if you walk past them. Don't say hello. If you're interested in some smooth jazz tonight at 8 p.m., the JDCD on Classic R&B Jams, you can go into the description, grab the link. And if you like that smooth jazz, 4 hours of smooth jazz, funk fusion, or some smooth R&B, Classic R&B Jams, you can check me out live Sunday nights at 8 p.m., bringing the hits from the decades, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and some great music from today. Usually my second hour is all about new music. And I got somebody coming in here, brand new here in a little while, DJ Mellow Yellow. She's going to be helping me on my YouTube channel as well as the radio. It's going to be bringing some great energy to the sounds around here. So with that, folks, y'all be good. We got to go.
Look, all you motherfuckers been snitching for him and shit. Well, now you standing up in here and goddamn it talking about preaching preacher. Fuck that nigga. Fuck that. I'm gonna shoot your ass too, motherfucker. Keep on. You gonna get shot too, nigga. You gonna get shot. God bless the fool, goddammit. God bless the fool. Now, I'm gonna tell y'all something. I'm gonna end this goddamn thing. Look, where's that goddamn money bowl at? Who got that money bowl? We're taking that money right now before you leave this bitch. We ain't leaving out here for free, motherfucker. Yeah. Y'all know the motherfucker ain't no good. You want, look,